And as the very handsome voice said, we truly get to see who is at the top of the LEC in the coming weeks. Of course, we have 2 rounds of playoffs left this weekend, where the winner of G2 and Vitality will play Misfits on Sunday, and Fnatic and Rogue play tomorrow.
Hello, everyone. That's Medic, that's Caedrel, and I'm Vedius, and we're here to bring you this banger of a series in G2 versus Vitality. I'm hyped. Gentlemen, are you hyped?
Oh, yeah, I think Jankos is hyped too, because we had our soundproof headsets on, but we can still hear him screaming something, couldn't we? I don't know if he's screaming to his own team or across the stage to Perkz.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy on stage right now, a lot of rivalries. You guys already know about the narrative. We're going to keep reminding you, but because it's game 1, it's time for the hype music. So everyone, let's get ready to get into draft.
And after the elation and the exuberance and the enthusiasm from Vedi, we take a moment, we take a second to get on into the draft. Last week, we saw G2 fall prey to the hands of Fnatic. LeBlanc was the key pick that they left open each time here. Now we see Selfmade's Olaf immediately banned by G2.
Yeah, blue side notorious for target ban, just taking that one away straight away from Selfmade, who played it 2 games against XL, won both, I believe. Such a different priority on jungle picks compared to other teams.
Something that Ender and I were talking about coming into this week was, you know, in order for G2 to take down Vitality, I think they need to play towards their strengths. And one of their biggest strengths, their mid-jungle combo. What can you try and guarantee in the draft? A strong mid-jungle duo. And funnily enough, one of the things we were talking about was, well, if you remove the Olaf, you actually limit a lot of some of those strong early-game junglers that Selfmade can dominate those jungle matchups on. And it seems G2's game plan already is to try and get themselves that strong mid-jungle.
Yeah, and Lee Sin comes to mind when I think of strong junglers to pair with mid laners. But the problem is both these junglers had very poor performances on Lee Sin. I think they lost all their games on Lee Sin and then pivoted to things like the Volibear, the Hecarim, the Olaf is what they were preferencing. And maybe with this Volibear ban, G2 are confident to first pick the Lee Sin. I feel like with 3 jungle bans, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Well, Vitality, will they read this?
Ooh,
because
Zeri.
Remember that Zeri exactly is up and available. They're now throwing the gauntlet down. What do you want to prioritize? Do you want to lock in the Zeri or do you want the Lee Sin?
And especially with Flakked only playing Aphelios last week, I wonder if we'll see that Zeri picked up first at G2.
I'm also thinking about Lucian. We saw some Lucian bans. We saw it picked once or twice, especially in the LCK too, so maybe that's going to be some kind of first pick priority. But Zeri is going to be G2's preference. Now Vitality probably going to answer with AD here, but jungle is still coming to my mind when I see these bans.
I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a LeBlanc Lee Sin. It was something that Vitality actually prioritized in their very first game of the series versus XL, which they did fall short in. They weren't able to find that early game agency, but I think a couple things in the early game just didn't go their way. Wouldn't be surprised if they sat there and still had confidence in that first rotation.
NASA support into Zeri. No, Nautilus is picked up instantly. It just came to my mind. We saw it in ERLs, it's been floating around in solo queue, these kind of things, and we know it could be a good pick with the slow, but Nautilus is going to get instantly locked in. Vitality, definitely been watching a lot of the eastern regions. It's a very, very popular pick to early rotate. One of the most powerful supports in the games right now, and Vitality could pick their AD carry here, Xayah, Aphelios, those kind of things, or they could pick jungle and AD on 3. I think they're pretty flexible here.
Doesn't have the best win rate so far in playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's like 1 and 7.
I think it's got like 2 wins now because Labrov did win another game on it, but there's that LeBlanc that we were talking about. So already trying to deny some of that strong mid-jungle that it seemed, based on the bans, that G2 was working towards. Of course, Lissandra and Lissandra, still very effective, especially when you think about the Viego still being up and available, but they're saying, well, you know what? If you want to go for the Lee, we'll actually go for the Viego instead and try and match and answer it.
Oh yeah, definitely are. Should be a winning matchup for the Viego in isolation. And of course, you know, G2 left LeBlanc against Fnatic up the whole series. They just let them have it, and they had 4 different answers. Lissandra, Karma, Ahri, Orianna. The Karma worked out best with the Hecarim. Lissandra game was okay, but they lost throughout the Dragon fight, and they're just going to run it back here. Good matchup overall. It's a bit jungle dependent, so we'll see what Vitality do here, because if they do pick up Aphelios, G2 could ban out junglers, counter pick tops, try to strengthen that top side up a bit.
Oh, definitely. With the Lee Sin still available for Vitality, it's surprising that they went for the Aphelios here instead of getting that strong jungle. Means that G2 have the option to ban out the Lee Sin here, as you say, Caedrel, and we'll see where Vitality decide to focus. You could look towards banning out top lanes, maybe get rid of some safe things for BrokenBlade, but BrokenBlade hasn't really been a safe pick top lane sort of plan.
I just wonder what Selfmade's got in his pocket, because if you do ban something like Lee Sin Xin'Zhao here, what are you running? Are you going to go for something like Trundle with LeBlanc? Are you going to go for Jarvan with LeBlanc? I'm a bit confused, because of course they have a lot of mobility already as well in Selfmade. I mean, Perkz said in an interview, I believe, after their series that they won against XL, where he was like, yeah, Selfmade can play off-meta junglers pretty easily, and we're very comfortable going deep into the Champion Ocean. Maybe he's got something prepared for this series. We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, the expected bans, if I'm G2, would be removal of the Lee, which is already gone, and also I would remove the Trundle. We know that Trundle was actually popularized by Xanthara last year, but it became very meta very quickly in terms of an answer into Viego because of how well they can match up to him and limit his mobility. But as you rightly said, not really the strongest mid-jungle synergy. It very much depends on what Vitality's priority here is and how G2 will actually look to limit them, as Vitality for the time being are limiting a lot of those defensive and scaling support options.
There is always the option for Vitality to use their last pick, their counter pick, to try and get something good for Alphari in the top lane, and instead of looking at mid jungle, look at top jungle. Get Alphari in a good position where he maybe can shut down BrokenBlade and play through the top lane instead of through the mid lane. Yeah,
with that J-Span, I feel like G2 are probably going to lean towards a Gnar blind pick. Both these top laners playing a lot of Gnar, especially on blue side. It's the most notorious blind pick when things like Jace are down. You could pick Irelia, but that makes the game so explosive on the top side of the map that if you fall behind, it's over. There's a Xin'Zhao. I expected Lee Xin'Zhao bans to come out from G2 just to deny that AD jungle kind of powerhouse that is Xin'Zhao. Did get nerfed, of course. Ultimate is now 4 seconds, but still does work with LeBlanc. Good setup into good setup early. And I feel like G2 here, Gnar would be like the most obvious pick.
But what about the Camille? Because you would imagine if the Gnar comes through, then Vitality answer with the Camille. So perhaps BrokenBlade just grabs it for himself? Maybe not?
Yeah, I mean, if they go, the thing is, if you blind pick Camille here, I think Alphari's already shown Jax, and then you're going into the Jax conundrum. I think this opens up a lot of options for Alphari here. You could go for GP, you could go for Camille, you could go for Irelia. There's a lot of carry tops that you can pick right now into this Gnar to try and have side lane prio, because G2 have a very strong team fight already. And I think with the last support pick here, which I think Targamas, maybe Leona, something like that, some engage with Lissandra would make the most sense. You could play more for side lanes with Camille.
Currently hovering over that NASA, something we've seen LS play quite a lot. Rakan, of course, gives you that engage possibility as well for the follow-up with the Lissandra. Gives Viego a good way onto the backline as well. Vitality now, though, their final pick, their top lane pick, going to have to try and answer into this Gnar.
It's pretty hard to match the team fight that G2 have right now with this last pick. You have LeBlanc for sides already, so it would make the most, again, just go for a carry top, and if they're ahead, you can just push sides and go towards mid and always be first to the objective or to mid lane for the push. There is the Camille as expected. Pretty standard stuff coming out from both these teams, I think, in game one.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Very predictable in terms of, you know, what we're seeing. My early concerns are that I don't think G2 have the strongest mid-jungle duo, but in terms of an answer to what Vitality have drafted, I think it's pretty solid. I think they have good scaling, as you were talking about. I think that they're incredibly mobile, especially with the Zeri and the Rakan. They have pretty solid engaging, and BrokenBlade on his Gnar last week was very effective, even in their losses, in terms of mitigating, well, a lot of Fnatic's teamfighting prowess. So I think G2 is pretty comfortable with what they've got. The question for Vitality is how much early game agency can they get with the draft that they've gotten. Their early games weren't the most impressive last week. And I think that when we look at how Vitality want to attack this game, the main focus will be on the mid-jungle.
And as you can tell, we've gone through the multiverse there for a second. We're hearing Vedius, Echoius, and all the other
stop looking into the future, okay?
How many scenarios are there, Vedian, and how many do Vitality win?
I can't reveal that. Spoilers. Sorry.
That's a shame.
Dr. Vedius.
But I think,
excuse me?
Yeah.
Wait, we got 2 doctors on the desk.
And you can be a third if you want.
You're a doctor, but he's a time doctor.
Ah, Doctor Who? Yes.
He's Vedius. What do you mean doctor? He's Vedius. That's his name.
Doctor Who?
No,
okay, boys, you're going down a weird rabbit hole, and I don't know how to pull you out of it, so I'm just going to do a hard pivot. G2 versus Vitality. We're jumping into game one in just a second. We have some interesting drafts on the board. A lot is on the line for both these teams, so without further ado, let's get in the game.
And on to the Rift we go for what is the first of hopefully 5 games today. In 86 minutes, G2 will face Vitality, but they're also doing it right now. That will be game 3. So if you just want to tune in for game 3, come back in about 85 minutes, 55 seconds.
Yep, quick math right there coming out from Medic, and looking across the board, pretty standard level 1s. Caps, of course, running the Aftershock on Lissandra. You can go for things like the Ignite and then run Electrocute to have more kill pressure in lane, but for overall map state and against the 1-3-1 comp, TP Aftershock makes the most sense.
I'm just going to say Electrocute, I think it's just better, bro. Nuke Duck showed it last week. TP Electrocute, it's the tech.
Based Vedius.
It gives you so much more kill pressure on the LeBlanc. It just gives you more damage. It's a better rune.
I mean, the thing is with TP, double TP just makes macro so much easier, because if you use TP aggressively for one player, it's Vitality looking for a level 1.
Flash from Labrov. It's flashed away by Jankos.
Second I tried to talk, the fighting begins. I think that's going to happen very often throughout this series with these players in the game. Very, very aggressive teams.
Well, you're a former jungler, current jungler experience all across the board. When you look at these drafts and you see a flashless Viego on the other side with a LeBlanc in mid lane, do you have any thoughts as a jungler? Things that you could try and punish?
I think the best thing is they have a ward on the enemy red as well, so they can track his pathing pretty easily. BrokenBlade showing top. They know that Viego is solo starting on the blue buff. We'll see what Selfmade does to path. He could go for blue Gromp red, backtrack into his bot side, kill him on his Krugs, but that's very, very ambitious when you leash bot and you won't have bot push either, so we'll see what happens. Maybe Vitality just force it, try to fight for it, but definitely makes Jankos quite vulnerable if Selfmade matches crabs. That's what's most important. When mid or jungle don't have flash in the first couple minutes of the game, matching the enemy jungle's crab is so effective in shutting him down a bit. Yes, you don't get as much experience from the crabs these days, but just making sure you secure that camp advantage and getting gold is always a nice thing.
So we did talk about jungle. Want to also keep our eyes on the bot lane. Labrov losing his flash. Hex flashing aggressively, but as you rightly mentioned, based on the wave state, Flakked and Targamas should get level 2 just now.
Just looking for the edge of the knockup there. Labrov did hook, but should be able to walk away from this one. It's just harass from Targamas and Flakked.
Good trades coming in.
Good trades indeed. Targamas, notice that he literally pressed W as the minion was dying. Good response from Labrov to try and hook him in, but Jankos now has his eyes set on Perkz.
He's going for the Carzzy gank. 3 camps on blue side into mid gank. They won't expect it in mid.
Perkz splashes the stun. I think it was actually going wide. Lands the chains as well, and Jankos is rooted in place. Perkz, though, without a flash now in that mid lane.
Yeah, it does make Perkz a little bit more vulnerable, but of course playing LeBlanc, so will be very slippery. I thought Jankos was going for a topside invade there, but a very common pathing these days for junglers ever since Carzzy did it at Worlds against Fnatic in 2020 in the quarterfinals on Lee Sin. 3 camps on blue side into mid gank from the opposite side that you think he's pathing into, and then you just easily get his flash or a kill, and we saw that right there.
And it worked very nicely. Getting the flash out from the LeBlanc will mitigate a lot of her pressure, especially against Lissandra. Makes it easier to set up for those later game plays, especially once she gets that level 6 mark. So already some good aggression coming out from Jankos in the early game. So far, his flashless start hasn't really been punished. Selfmade now pathing back towards the bot side, and it comes back to that crab contest you were talking about earlier, Caedrel, as both junglers make their way.
Yeah, matching crab is so important when the enemy jungle has no flash, and you'll see Selfmade do exactly just that. They do have a little bit of bot push from the bounce, but he knows Jankos in the bot side. Secure this crab, go through mid, take top crab if you want, or base, go Krugs, take crab and clear back down on respawn, but Selfmade's looking for a little bit of information right now.
Can I just clarify, matching crab is going for the crab the enemy jungler was going to go for? So that's why you get 2 crabs out of it?
Exactly, what Selfmade did was he saw Jankos start blue because his red was warded and he didn't see him on his red. So what he's going to do is, because he's starting bot side, he's going to be on a kind of mismatching path where Selfmade's pathing top, Jankos pathing bot, but what you can do is something called the backtrack, which is what Selfmade did. He full cleared to his red and then went back down to bot side before the crab spawned and took it away from him. Instead of just full clearing to top, taking top crab and basing, just gets him a little bit of a camp advantage.
This matchup between Jankos and Selfmade is one we've seen a few times over the years. Jankos very much in favor in the head-to-head, 18 wins to 7, and Selfmade has had a few very strong splits, but has yet to really make his impact at the top of the LEC. Consistently challenging, but never really being able to find his true mark.
I will say that I think Selfmade has had a bit of an up-and-down career in terms of especially fan sentiment and expectations, but the one thing I think has been very consistent, very intelligent jungler. I mean, we just had a great demonstration of him reading the map and immediately responding to where he can gain a very small advantage. And I think we continue to see that. The expectations were that on Fnatic he was able to win his first title. Wasn't quite able to pull that through. Perhaps now on this super team he'll be able to do just that. But the veteran in Jankos will look to shut him down as both junglers now shadow the top side.
Just speaking of veteran in Jankos, as Alphari goes on to BrokenBlade.
It looks for a little bit of damage. Jankos is here as well. Alphari, as you say, has the ignite, no flash on him. Selfmade now shows himself when becomes lightning goes wide as BrokenBlade is able to leap away.
Yeah, I was going to say there's Jankos the veteran. Selfmade's been on 3 different teams against Jankos. First SK, then Fnatic, now Vitality, and all throughout that time of swapping through teams, Jankos has been the staple on G2. BrokenBlade looking for Selfmade here, who has not based yet.
Selfmade, of course, does still have the flash, and with the wallop going short, Selfmade is able to walk away.
So what I think Selfmade was doing there was, maybe it was a good play for Vitality if Jankos overextended with no flash, they turn on him and they get the kill. 1, they didn't have hook shot to make sure the re-engage from Alphari could connect, and 2, Selfmade didn't base yet. Jankos had the Sheen, he had a little bit of an item advantage, and they didn't want to take that 2v2 caps.
Ignited here. As the Frozen Tomb, yeah, that level 6 means that Perkz can't harass any further. It wasn't actually the ignite, it was just the electrocute damage coming in, I think.
Yeah, we'll get the push.
He doesn't have ignite, so that would make sense.
That would make sense, fighting in bot.
So you say there's the root going down onto Flakked. He's going to try and dodge across this wall. Good block there by Targamas. Flakked able to escape.
You highlighted it, Medic. Great block there from Targamas to stop the hook. Follow-up CC from the root. Heal used, ignite used, trade of offensive summoners in the bot side, but Vitality, see what they do with this wave. They have blue gun on Carzzy, and that wave won't freeze, so he could just fast push this and take a base as well. Still 2 minutes till the Herald, so nothing to play for topside just yet.
So a bit of skirmishing happening in the early game, but nothing too dramatic so far. But very common in game ones for both teams to just kind of test the waters as teams get more comfortable on stage and warm up throughout the series.
Might look a bit odd there that BrokenBlade is ulting the wave, but what he's trying to do is trying to crash the wave. Gnar has quite a low ultimate cooldown as Alphari's going to look for him.
Notice there's no Gnar. Gnar coming out here. Alphari trading onto BrokenBlade. Flash still available for the G2 top lane, but can he get away? Alphari doing a lot of damage, will force BrokenBlade away. Now he's sacrificed a wave for this, and he's trading in the midst of the minions. Ignite available for Alphari. Can he hookshot? Can he go back in? BrokenBlade decides he doesn't want any more of that trade.
He could have overchased that and tried to outplay Alphari by flashing his second hookshot off cooldown. Problem is he didn't have vision. Now, jungle support on the top side. BrokenBlade wants to catch his wave and he has no TP. If he bases here, he loses it. He's trying to fake that he's basing here to look for a kill on Alphari. I don't know if he knows they're here. Just going to throw out the boomerang. And the reason Alphari couldn't get that solo kill was because the bone plating proc the second he landed the W. He knew he couldn't overcommit into it and was forced to back away.
Alphari was definitely within kill range though. You can see the commitment, but he held on to his Ignite until he was certain of the kill. That Ignite is a very powerful resource in terms of your 1v1. Labrov first on the rotation top. Targamas is actually still hovering around the bot side of the map right now, so Vitality guarantee themselves a numbers advantage and a threatening to dive.
Selfmade has the Crescent Guard, Labrov has the hook, of course. Alphari going in, stun, locked up, first blood already, and they look for two, as Jankos underneath the tower is locked in place. Labrov flashes for it, Vitality get two.
Beautiful dive, beautiful aggression, juggled so perfectly there by Vitality. Alphari didn't have ult to reset it, so Selfmade went in first, so Alphari faked it by standing on the tower with his hookshot. The second Selfmade takes aggro, he hits the stun. They get both kills, they both get out, and all they used was an Ignite and a flash.
Very nice dive from Vitality, and just the patience and execution, very clean. We talked about Vitality kind of developing throughout the series against XL and how their fifth game was really their best game in terms of their early game control, their map movements, and especially Labrov and Selfmade working together. Ender talked about it on the telestrator, the roam up towards top. They saw Targamas bot as well. They knew that they had the numbers advantage. They knew they could commit to the dive. It ultimately just came down to execution, and they executed it flawlessly.
Yeah, and the cherry on top is there's no cross map for G2. There's just a free farm in bot from Carzzy. Look, he holds the E, then lands it straight onto BrokenBlade. Instantly one-shot, can't flash. Selfmade flashes out on the last tower shot. Then Labrov flashes forwards to get the kill. And like I was going to say, Carzzy, look at his CS number, completely even. If anything, he's probably ahead in experience right now because Labrov gave up a wave or two. So bot lane's in a good state. G2, because Vitality had to base, will get themselves a Herald.
And that's probably the only bad news for Vitality, is that because of the timing of the dive and they had to reset, they do end up giving over the Herald, which means that G2 will be able to get a little bit of control back out on the map. But still, Vitality, they're now setting up for a bot side Drake. You can also see Selfmade getting a bit of deep vision. I wonder if he's even going to try and steal the red, but it seems that Jankos is making the call. Flakked is trying to get a bit of information as to what's going on.
Look at Labrov, he just went mid and pushed the wave in with Perkz while Caps is going to blue. They have full information as to where mid lane is because Perkz just says, well, this guy just ran top side. He's obviously getting blue buff. Let's take their whole bot side. Carzzy stacking a bot wave. Everyone's here for the red buff. We'll see if G2 respond though, because Jankos is on the way. Targamas is around.
No level 6 yet for Targamas. Perkz going to dive forward there. With the distortion, Jankos on his way, Smite goes out, and there's a blast cone there for Selfmade and Perkz to escape. Easy enough for Vitality to steal away that red.
This is a really tough game for Jankos. I mean, he's down a level and a half right now on Selfmade. The crab didn't hurt him too much, but it's a very similar thing to what we saw in the Fnatic game, where G2 is drafting these lanes and get pushed in, and the biggest person to suffer is Jankos, because once they get pushed in, they're going to invade, look for deep vision in his jungle, and that either shuts down Jankos so he can't find plays because they have vision on him, or he loses out on his camps.
Well, it's one of those things that I want to go back and watch in the VOD reviews later, but like, why Targamas ended up showing bot was a little uncharacteristic. Very commonly, we'll see that support roam at level 3, level 4 into mid lane. If there's somewhere that they can move with the jungler on the map, then they'll often follow them. But the moment that they spotted Targamas bot, they knew, wait, we guarantee 3 versus 2 on the top side. Our AD carry's not going to get dived here. Okay, sure, we'll happily take this cross-map play. We'll happily make the dive. And the fact that we're seeing Selfmade and Labrov work so flawlessly together as well, Vitality seem like they've rectified a lot of the issues that they experienced against Vitality, and already in game 1, they're looking strong.
They really are. Jankos looking to try and answer back for G2. Currently 0 kills on the scoreboard. 1,700 gold behind for them. They do have the Rift held, but Jankos is just going to back away here.
The problem is Labrov was on top on a wave, caught XP. He went mid, pushed in mid with Perkz and Selfmade, got experience. Look at bot lane right now. Carzzy's level 8 to Flakked is level 7 because he solo caught a wave. But Targamas is still level 5. He should level up on this wave, but the fact that Labrov is ahead in experience right now, while also out-roaming Targamas, is a big issue for G2 right there. If Jankos in that bush, Targamas was level 6, and Labrov was level 5, they could have just straight up dove them 3v2. But because of the experience discrepancy, they weren't able to find the play, as Perkz and Caps trading in mid.
Carzzy running the cleanse as well does mean that he'd be able to get away from either the stun or the charm from that Rakan. or the Viego. Labrov looking for mid lane once again, has the Hex Flash. Perkz locked up with the Frozen Tomb. It's going to be a 3v2 in just a second. Perkz diving back, Cap's still alive. The aftershock keeping him alive right there, but Jankos has no such luxury. Targamas has joined the fray. He's going to have to try and dash across this wall. Depth charge will chase him. Wind becomes lightning, I think was just a little short. Targamas still with the flash and with the quickness. Shouldn't be at too much peril right now as Flakked looks to join the fray. Perkz can dive back forward. Selfmade looking for the Q3. One more knock-up a possibility. The ult, as you say, from Carzzy could have come in with that gravitum, but Vitality are able to chase G2 away.
And once again, Labrov is first on the play. It looked like a 2v2 that could have gone in the favor of Caps and Jankos, but the problem was that the moment that this Nautilus shows up, it immediately swings in Vitality's favor. Targamas ends up being a little bit behind, and Vitality find themselves another kill.
Yeah, just to rub salt into the wounds, Caps had to TP out there. He ran into their jungle and TP'd back to his own base, so that TP's now on cooldown for Caps. Instantly looks like a 2v2, and of course with Lissandra Viego, you would think you could one-shot to LeBlanc, but stun connects, Perkz flashes out to the side, and lands the chain as well. Labrov's there first, Chucks like you said, and Targamas arrives, and he's, well, guys, now I'm 1 versus 3, I have to run away. Jankos was looking for a Herald bottom mid, but he's going to end up putting it top. They should get the first tower here. Caps is on the way. Perkz has TP if he wants the match.
TP is in, Rift Herald will charge, 2 plates down, but they're going to decide against going any further for that play. Gold lead for BrokenBlade, only 100 in this top lane.
Yeah, but look who's here first again. Labrov was right behind the play once again. If G2
Whoa, Caedrel, watch out, Labrov's behind.
Oh my god,
Yeah, he's just showing up everywhere first on the map
no,
right
he's
now.
on the stage, guys. You can literally look over there and see him.
Okay, Medic, okay.
You're the one with all the dad jokes, man. Come on, surely this one would have settled in. Because Labrov's now looking top.
BrokenBlade has the flash, building up that Mega Gnar. Hexagoldamatum's going to lock him in place, though, and he can't flash out of that. Flashes the hook, though, just in time to escape. Carzzy and Flakked trading the bottom lane. Moonlight Vigil's going to hit. Infernum, not enough. Flakked pop the heal.
How often do you see a Zeri losing a 1v1 to the enemy AD carry at 12 minutes in the game? Triforce to Gale Force. Selfmade is bot to cover his AD carry while Labrov shows top. Labrov could have played that with a little bit more confidence, maybe tried to hook the flash. Selfmade, speaking of flash,
he's going to have to flash out of that. No escape for him. Jankos was waiting just around the river bend as Carzzy will continue to force Jankos and Targamas out. There is a possible dive opportunity here for G2, maybe just trying to force Selfmade out of this jungle.
This is the first time we've seen G2 in a position where they have the numbers advantage, forcing Selfmade to flash over the wall because Caps had that mid-prio. Targamas in the bot side of the map as Labrov was still rotating from the top side, but G2 not able to get anything off the back of it. Vitality showcasing that respect. The good news for G2 is that BrokenBlade should secure the first tower of the game, so he will pocket a good amount of money, but Vitality still lead with a 1k goal.
Yeah, let's just take stock of the game because BrokenBlade's a level up. He just took a full tower ahead in gold, just like you said. Caps has to push in mid, ahead in gold. Got a plate, is ahead in creeps. Jungle is the biggest problem right now for G2. Selfmade is so many camps ahead, around 40-50 CS up on Jankos right now. Bot lane pretty stable. Again, Carzzy's just ahead in XP because of Labrov. Moving around the map, it is a freeze for now. And the best part about this freeze is Alphari has TP, so definitely a freeze I would accept, but I think it's going to slow push on the next wave. Can hold it for now. We'll see what BrokenBlade does. Normally top laners will just run towards bot side or mid to get the push. But Selfmade, see that question mark ping there? He got spotted on the wave. So now G2 have full information that the enemy top jungle are on Krugs. See what they do with it, because they can look for some kind of 5-man bot play.
Yeah, you really have to go down towards the bottom lane here. No neutral up for you on that bottom side of the map. The lane instead should be your target. Caps, of course, can roam down here. Glacial Path gives you a lot of mobility on that Lissandra, but it might just be BrokenBlade and Targamas teaming up to look for a dive. Still all the summoners available on the Vitality bottom lane. That control ward spotted now by Targamas as he goes in with the sweeper. BrokenBlade still here. That mini Gnar nowhere near Mega as of yet, but with a stacked wave coming in, it's going to be hard for Vitality to defend.
This is an awkward spot for BrokenBlade because it's either he bases and catches top wave, or they fight, they force the dive and make Alphari TP in. It looks like they don't have the wave to do it, so now BrokenBlade just has to do the walk of shame back to top, catch the wave, and get nothing from having so much tempo on the top side of the map. The TP kind of dissuading that play. That was the power of Alphari holding the wave there.
And I think it's really important to highlight, as you said, that Alphari does the right thing. He doesn't keep the freeze going, right? He immediately pushes it the moment the BrokenBlade is spotted bot to put that pressure onto BrokenBlade. We know you don't have TP. We know that you can't actually answer this wave, so you now have to make a choice. Commit to the dive and lose all this farm, or come back to wave and the dive has to stop. And in the end, BrokenBlade made the choice to reset, but that does mean that the bot lane is safe. Alphari gets a good amount of waves, and now look at what Vitality's doing on the bot side of the map. Knowing that the reset has come
pink
through.
ward.
No, it's fine. it was cool.
It was
Labrov
cool.
wins the mental war, but that pink ward is 75 gold. You're not getting back, and he's Rakan.
But mental warfare. He just made Targamas hit the ward. He made him dodge away from the blast cone to make him W over the wall. That's a mental edge right there, because now he can push him out, try to get some this tower for
I'm sorry,
Carzzy.
you say because now he can do that. He could have done that anyway without the mental warfare.
That was a good idea. I like the concept.
Down today, Medic. There's a lot of, there's immediately...
Carzzy had the push anyway. Yes, you forced the Rakan to use his W, but I think Carzzy's taking that tower anyway, Caedrel.
That's a great point, Caedrel. I loved it.
Thanks, Fedi.
Thanks,
Fedi.
Yeah. I liked it. Wow, unbelievable. Now, that will be the tower in favor of Vitality. G2 securing the Herald.
See, Targamas wins the mental warfare. This Rakan, he's just too good.
Oh, something
Tempo
special. He just killed him. No, I'm kidding, of course. Here comes the Herald mid for G2. Both supports trying to base. It looks like no, Labrov was basing now, and Targamas is moving towards mid. Numbers advance for G2, who are now sitting at 2 towers.
And this is because Labrov's base was stopped in the bottom lane. He then couldn't get towards this mid lane to stop that Rift Herald coming out. It's just great play by a Rakan player. All Rakan players, so great. I'll stop it there for the moment. Mid lane tower does go down, as you say. 1,000 gold the lead for Vitality. And it is actually interesting to see the story of this game so far as Selfmade steps forward here. Smart win becomes lightning to make sure that they could spot G2 in that bush.
Vitality hold a lot of cards here because Alphari can force this top tier one, and he has TP. Look at that ward on Krugz. That could be a pretty good TP flank if they choose to do so. But for now, he's going to get this top tower. Vitality have mid push as well, so G2, what's your answer? They have to engage, I think.
They go in, Frozen Tomb, Crescent Guard going in, Caps pops the Tomb on himself, Labrov knocked back underneath the tower, Selfmade's going to fall first, but it's 2 for 1 so far in favor of Vitality. Alphari on the backline, Perkz diving away, Alphari underneath the tower will fall as well, BrokenBlade trying to do what he can alongside Jankos. The reset's coming in for Jankos, Carzzy dodges away and gets the kill. It's a triple for Carzzy.
It's an all-out bloodbath in the mid lane, and Vitality come out ahead. The carry standing strong. 5 kills over to Vitality. They might get this mid tower too, and this all came off the back of G2 forcing a play because they didn't have any map control.
It really did feel like G2 had to force the fight, and initially it didn't even look that bad. Well, Caps got a really good positioning with his ultimate, but the moment Alphari joined the fray is really where things started to swing.
Yeah, I want to see what happens to Caps here, because it felt like he couldn't get his ult off in time. The second he goes in, I feel like the Selfmade ult him away. We'll see what happens. Targamas gets engaged on, gets chunked out. As he goes in, he gets knocked back, knocked up, loses almost all his HP, and his positioning is just really awkward. Maybe if he was a bit closer to this jungle support, he could zone away Perkz. And now I thought Vitality here going a bit too deep. Alphari underneath the tower, and all of Vitality kind of piling in just to try and help him out. Tanking so many shots. Jankos very close to getting a triple kill here if he can get the reset of Carzzy.
Very, very close indeed, but props to Carzzy and how he played the fight. Just avoids the damage from Caps, is able to get that execute, is in no real threat from any backline damage from G2, and is able to consistently just melt through the entire G2 roster. I know he was a player that received a lot of criticism last week, but already in game 1, he's looking good.
And it also means the gold lead for Vitality has swung a little bit from being all on Selfmade's shoulders to now having Carzzy ahead as well. He's already got the Gale Force. You can see he's building up towards the Bloodthirster, and it allows this extra prong to your spear for Vitality.
Yeah, and I'm not too sure here, Vedius, because when I look at Perkz, he always says he goes down the first game. He always loses the first game best of 5. It's his comfort zone. But that's also G2's comfort zone. That's Perkz.
Yep, Frozen Tomb into the lockup there. And Perkz is trying to do that for you, Caedrel.
Well, there it is. He wants to lose the first game. It looks like gets caught out, but now Vitality.
Chases on, Jankos going in, knock up there from Targamas as well, but Labrov can dredge line to the tower. G2 now the aggressors because Alphari's in the side lane without the teleport.
They have a bot wave as well. Maybe they want to push this in and hit the tower. See what Vitality do to respond. Alphari already basing. I don't think they have the damage to take this completely, unless they full commit.
Well, the lanes are a bit awkward right now for Vitality. You see Selfmade in his topside jungle. Carzzy had to catch mid, and now he's rotating down to bot. G2 are going to disengage for the time being, but good pick ultimately from G2. They had the pushing bot wave. They caught Perkz off guard, and I will say that was a mistake from Perkz. He dived in, went for a bit of a trade, gets ulted, ends up getting collapsed on. The danger of the Lissandra when playing the LeBlanc.
I don't think they were spotted. They spotted one, they saw him go into the bush, but Labrov is met with 3. G2 find another. They now TPing down towards this bottom lane as BrokenBlade looks for the chase. As you say, Carzzy, no flash, no cleanse. Quickness coming in from Targamas. He gets the charm off during the Moonlight Vigil, locks him against the wall, and there's the shutdown over to G2.
Very, very creative play as well, because they kind of faked that they were all backing, saying, okay, we're giving up bot side unless we hide in this bush, and this can backfire very heavily. If you don't get kills there and you're forced away, your tempo is in the pavement. Vitality would own the map, but G2 fire back. They get this bot tier 2 they were looking for. As Jankos secures the blue.
So a lot of bot side control given over to G2. They get themselves a tower, they steal away a bunch of camps, they get a lot of XP into their back pocket as well, and crucially, they get that shutdown gold from Carzzy, giving themselves the gold lead. G2 showcasing that even though the early game didn't quite go their favor, even though they were a little bit behind on a number of the plays, they're still very much in this game.
And I have to give credit to Caps' lane phase especially. I mean, just look at the CS numbers. He's been keeping Perkz on a tower a lot of the game, got plates, and was able to actually keep some push in mid and stabilize the kind of lead that Perkz was finding over side lanes. You can see Perkz with 6 assists, but Caps with that CS lead still has a level lead right now. So this LeBlanc hasn't got a kill yet. And normally when we see LeBlancs, they're in positions where they have vision, they W forwards, they try to watch and they try to back off. But right now, Perkz doesn't really have the items to do it. He has a Ludens and an Amplifying Tomb. Caps has 2 items right now. This LeBlanc needs a little bit more resources if Vitality want to find picks before fights.
And a lot of people have been looking at Caps and saying, why is he playing these more supportive champions? The Lissandra, the Karma. Well, this is why. Because he can shut down people in lane. He can remove a threat from the opposing team. And here, although Perkz does still have damage, he is not the threat that we saw Humanoid be last week on the LeBlanc.
Yeah, and what does that do, playing a supportive style? It unlocks your top side especially. Jankos and BrokenBlade. BrokenBlade being ahead from the lane phase. Down in CS now, yes, but he was able to get the first tower. And Jankos has gotten a lot of kills now. He's actually even in levels with Selfmade, despite being down 40-50 CS right now still. So Caps has helped him recover a little bit there. And we'll see how the team fights play out. As we talked about in draft videos, Vitality running this 1-3-1 comp. They want to separate G2, look for picks, push these side lanes and collapse towards mid. Feels like right now they're just kind of butting their head against the wall as G2 have this team fight comp.
For sure, and a lot of credit needs to be given to G2 in their mid game. I think that when we look at Vitality, their early games haven't really been the biggest problem for them in playoffs. It's actually in this mid-game situation where they need to decide what to do on the map, and sometimes they get over-eager. Sometimes we see them pushing in enemy jungle, overextending in team fights, trying to find picks that they shouldn't be, and they end up getting punished. And we saw Perkz get punished. We then saw, I guess you could argue, a slight overextension from Labrov, but G2 played that well. And again, it's that counter-argument of, okay, sure, maybe Vitality are making these small mistakes, but the way in which G2 have played around to the bot side of the map in this mid-game has been very good. They've maintained great control. They played around their ways well. They took advantage of the fact that Alphari had no teleport to be able to respond. They leveraged numbers advantage, and G2 have been able to claw their gold back by playing very well in the mid-game.
Yeah, just looking at itemization, Perkz basing there just picks up a blasting wand. Alphari running the plate to steal Cap, so if Caps targets him with ultimate, they can lock down this diver of Camille. So we'll track how the fights work. I feel like G2 have 2 options. The Rakan, the Lissandra, the Gnar. They can all dive the backline, but they can also play to peel. You can use diving tools as peeling tools and use them all onto Camille. But for now, Vitality playing over side lane, looking for Caps.
Question is, does Cap step up? Because he doesn't need to. He saves the glacial path. Everfrost flash forward from Labrov, dodges away from the dredge line. Cap's playing safe. He knew his team was on the other side of the map. They have bot side control, and Caps didn't step forward to catch that next wave.
Yep, he's able to avoid the play. Labrov also committed his flash, and the dragon is spawning, and G2 have control over the bot side of the map. They have the bot wave pushing in. BrokenBlade doesn't have TP, Caps does. Vitality are trying to force a fight.
Targamas able to dodge away.
This is a fantastic example of pushing sides and collapsing mid. Look where BrokenBlade and Caps were. They were pushing the remaining bot waves. Alphari just giving it up and Perkz having the push already. Going mid, forcing something, getting G2's TPs or backing off, getting Flakked's flash, backing off, rinse and repeat. That's the power of a 1-3-1. G2 were split up for a split second there. Vitality looks for the engage, and it was a very good play on paper. Unfortunately, it doesn't result in anything just yet. We might see that kind of thing happen again.
And with the lane assignments, you know that Vitality are giving up this next dragon. Carzzy going towards the top side. He has no way of joining a fight if it did begin, so Alphari will catch the lane pushing in the bottom side. Carzzy will catch the wave and shove it in that top side, and Labrov and Selfmade will team up and get some deep vision in this top side jungle. Get a couple of wards in there, steal away any camps you can. You've already given up the objective, you might as well mitigate your losses.
For sure. Right now it's a vision battle with no objective on the map. Vitality do have control around the Baron for the time being, but this is where G2 is looking to contest. They'll push out the top wave, they keep pushing the bot, and here is that vision contest that we were just talking about. G2 and Vitality find themselves 25 minutes into the game at a pretty much dead even spot. And now it ultimately comes down to the execution of their compositions. Notably, the 2 core carries in Caps and BrokenBlade that you traditionally expect for this roster, sitting at item advantages. Oh, well, actually, items are now being completed for Alphari. Selfmade could be in danger.
Quickness. Charm's going to hit onto Carzzy, but he's able to dodge away. Selfmade the next target. Crescent Guard used by him. The Gale Force from Carzzy, I think, to dodge away the knockup. That was beautiful from the AD carry for Vitality.
Oh yeah, props to Carzzy. Really good reaction time there. Didn't have any vision on them whatsoever. He just saw a Rakan flashing out a bush and just reactively Gale Forced away in the opposite direction and managed to escape without using anything else. Gets the Rakan flash. That'll hurt them in teamfights a little bit. G2 looking for cracks in the armor of Vitality as they push in these waves and look for picks themselves.
I think you see throughout this game just some of the veterancy of these 2 teams as well. Obviously, both these teams have been in quite a few finals. BrokenBlade 4 domestic, Jankos 5, you go down the list. Only Labrov, Flakked, and Targamas have not made a final yet, and obviously trying to do that this year. But some of these plays, this awareness that we are seeing from the players definitely comes from the fact that they have so much experience, not only at this level of play, but even one above.
Yeah, there's two different things in League of Legends. There's information that you can work with, and there's gut feeling. And gut feeling sometimes comes into play, whether it's, you win out on 1v1, or you have a feeling the enemy jungle might be doing something different or something odd, or maybe Selfmade and Perkz are shadowing bot here as BrokenBlade has a kind of feeling, a little bit of information topside, they're probably here. Probability is a thing, and with so much experience, that wealth of experience just helps that gut feeling, helps that information tracking, it helps to analyze how many different plays a team could have.
It certainly does. And it's pretty impressive how G2 have been able to kind of swap the control of the map over in their favor. After finding a couple of great picks, securing that bot lane tower, you can see how it's kind of Vitality now fighting for that space. They have the push in top, they have the push in bot, it is Vitality responding. G2 maintain control of the mid wave as well. And now they're moving their vision towards the Baron area, and this gold lead is slowly getting bigger and bigger for G2.
Yeah, I feel like if Vitality get a pick, they're going to go to Nash. And if G2 can push Vitality far enough back, they're going to look for a rush. So this game could explode at a blink of a second into one team's favor. Both teams just juggling in for now. You don't really want to take risks. You can see Carzzy close to the Dominix, and his team saying, oh, we can look for a pick topside. Like, guys, I'm level 15, I'm close to my third item. Let's not look for a risky play. And maybe BrokenBlade saying the same thing. Guys, I'm close to my third item. Caps wants a Zhonya's before the fight. So a lot of kind of different items or points of control a team wants before they take a risk or a jump into an aggressive play.
And of course, when you're looking around those plays, a lot of the time they're dictated by when the neutrals are up as well. Don't really want to force a Baron unless you have perfect vision or a large gold lead. Instead, Dragon, a key point of contest between these two teams, and the next one is still 2 minutes away.
Yeah, and that's the push and pull, like the seesaw effect that we've seen over the last 5 to 6 minutes of gameplay. It's very hard to see to the naked eye, but that's basically what's happening. Items, vision control, windows, that's what they're looking for. Opportunities, as Carzzy does complete that third item.
Very tense moment is fast approaching. Both these teams are likely going to be finding themselves in the game-deciding moment. If G2 win another big team fight, it's going to be much harder for Vitality to maintain control over the sides. You can already see that starting to happen. Of course, Caps respecting the LeBlanc for the time being as that wave gets pushed in very deep, not going to overstep. But again, back into the mid contest. This is often what we will see at pro play, especially when you have two good teams facing off against each other. Caedrel, you've already highlighted it so much, but it's this vision dance, that control. Which space do we control? What area do we not? And how can we get that control? And right now, look at how hesitant both top laners are to go towards that bot lane because they don't have full information as to where everyone is.
Caps was looking for it. You're completely right. It's been very tense right now. G2, you can see how the game just fluctuates depending on the time. Every second, another play could happen. Vitality, Dragon spawning in 40 seconds. G2 could look for a Nash rush. Vitality don't have vision there. They could just bail up towards the top side if they so choose to do so, or they could try to force Vitality out. Everyone's just reacting to what the other team does right now. Alphari basing with TP ready. Caps might be a bit caught here.
It's a little bit alone. Glacial Path going forward, gets the root ring of Phosphos, and Tomb will follow up.
Oh, no.
Perkz found out by his former teammate. Caps gets him, and now the Dragon is forfeit for Vitality.
I thought it was Caps who was in trouble. Labrov was right next to him, but it was Perkz who ends up falling. Now G2. Vitality want to fight this, it looks like. They're hovering around.
No Frozen Tomb, no quickness. So there are a couple of ultimates down alongside the Heartbreaker for Jankos, but Vitality instead go towards that mid lane wave. Level 15 on Alphari, same on Carzzy. That upgraded ultimate not yet available for them. Vitality decide against the fight and instead go for topside vision.
They have a window to take G2's vision here and look for a Nash force. Perkz can TP in 15 seconds, so now G2 had full control of bot side, but now Vitality could force G2 to walk into them if they start this up. Perkz ready in 10 seconds. Alphari's hovering off to the side in case anyone face checks. They're looking for an engage.
Really good positioning from Alphari. He hasn't been spotted out. They do not know. TP's now coming in from G2. BrokenBlade's going to join it. Alphari looking for the flank. Onto Flakked, you have to feel. Hexagon made him. Onto Flakked, but the stopwatch will stop time for a second to keep Flakked alive. Two fights, two fronts. Selfmade locked up on the backline. Perkz already killed off Targamas, but Selfmade will fall next. Alphari trying to do what he can with only a third of his HP bar. Vitality dodging in and out of vision, but the dive in from Viego, from Jankos to take two. Flakked gets one of them. Alphari now running for the hills, chased away by G2. The Glacial Path will follow him home, as will Flakked with a double.
Flakked stands strong as everything is thrown at him to try and shut him down, but a clutch stopwatch stalls enough time for G2 to turn the fight back around in their favor. G2 come out on top, G2 will secure the Baron, and G2 is looking to secure game one in this series.
That was literally every single thing Vitality had. had for a resource thrown at G2 from vision to spells to TPs to summoners, and they tried their damnedest to get Flakked, but they just could not get on top of him. Alphari instantly ults him here, and the second he does, the stopwatch on the Nautilus ult. Now Alphari's confused. Oh, going to BrokenBlade, I guess. Uses E already. Selfmade's trying to buy time. Perkz just arrives now, and G2 stands strong.
And look at how well Caps and Targamas just stalled 3 members in that narrow choke point as well. Carzzy just can't hit onto anything because this massive Lissandra ultimate is in the middle of this narrow choke point. Yes, Targamas does end up losing his life, but look at the benefit that it gives his team. 4 members stand strong, Vitality fall, and Vitality lose the Baron.
God, every team fight we see, as G2 elated there after that fight, every single team fight we see between these two teams, no one gets out alive. You're either getting aced as one of the teams, or you're going to win the fight and get an objective. We saw that with Vitality initially, with their first ace in mid, getting a mid tower, and now G2 straight into the Baron. Sieging on this top tower. 4,500 gold, we will see if they can push into the inhibitors.
They will take the first tower in this top lane. BrokenBlade looking for Selfmade once again. Flash up towards the top side. Perkz locked up with the Frozen Tomb. Selfmade dives in as well, but a stopwatch. It's the only gold you'll see this game, I'm sure. G2 will lock him out. Selfmade falls. Baron still remains. Caps has TP.
Yeah.
And you have to feel this is at least the push for the inhibitor.
The towers are falling, the base is crumbling. G2 just short of or just above 30 minutes rather, are looking to secure themselves game 1 in this series.
Oh, they're gonna go for it. Caps stopwatches the Aphelios Q with green gun, doesn't have ult. The wave's very small. Another one coming in, 25 seconds to work with.
Cannon minion on its way. Sentry will stop it for the moment as BrokenBlade now pushes in, has that Gnar, has the flash, and will use both as he looks up to Carzzy. Labrov immediately locked out by Caps. Alphari on the fountain, pulled back by Jankos, who heartbreaks his way back to safety. The Nexus towers will be raised to the ground as G2 take game 1 over Vitality.
G2 strike first blood in this series, which I think is going to be a long one, but this is the first time we see G2's answer to LeBlanc just be very, very strong. You can see it in those fights. The second LeBlanc jumps forwards, instantly ultimated by Lissandra and falls. They had confidence against Fnatic with it. They unfortunately lost, but this time around, it seemed to work out.
Yeah, G2's mid game was just really impressive, considering how so many things were going wrong for them in the early game. They were falling short on plays, they were losing kills. They still were able to secure some heralds. That gave them a little bit of gold into their back pocket, and we saw Caps just constantly being ahead of Perkz in the mid lane matchup, constantly ahead in randomization, and pretty much neutralizing the impact of Perkz on this LeBlanc.
Yeah, Caps in those team fights really dynamic. We saw the one around Baron where he just peeled as much as he could for Flakked to buy time. Other ones, he's just diving in. Yes, they lost that mid fight, but diving in, he has many options in these fights, and I feel like Vitality's response of the 1-3-1 and pushing sides into mid never really worked against this team fight juggernaut that G2 drafted.
And G2 always willing to pull the trigger on those fights as well, funneling Vitality into some difficult situations. And we saw a fight from Vitality, especially from Labrov early on in the game. Labrov was everywhere, but they just couldn't make it work. G2 strike first in the best of 5 and take down Vitality after the break. We'll dissect the early game and the turning Baron fight.